All right, so I thought about this today. I was thinking about this concept of is techno dead? And what I mean by techno is music that is primarily made electronically, somewhat oriented towards dance, although it took a turn to where it really intrigued me, um, to places where it becomes not even music. And that's why I think it's not dead, because you can't kill it, I think. It's kind of a weird view that I have here. Um, but like if you think about different music genres like heavy metal, rock and roll, classic rock, classical music, R&B, certain forms of hip hop, even where that's going these days, they run into these dead ends where everybody's just sounding like a certain thing, you know? And like, what's the point, right? It's like, oh, it's easy to make that. Everybody knows how to make that. What's the point of doing it? And guys, like the reason why I bring up this picture that I guess is somehow associated with Atekra using Digital Performer or something. I've never used that software, but I find it interesting. Uh, they they pushed boundaries and made things that don't sound like music, and yet you want to listen to it. At least some of us weirdos want to listen to it. And yeah, Atekra represents to me kind of like the gold standard of this kind of music. And to me, they're kind of why I don't think it's dead. Like as long as those guys are making music, there'll be something interesting. Now I had an interesting anecdote though to counter that argument. When Plaid came out with their new album, my friend didn't like their single, the Wonder Gone song. He didn't like it, and he's like, "Well, that's not what Plaid's about. Like that song sounded like normal dance music. Like but I kind of liked it. I think sometimes you can go ahead and do that. Um, I liked it a lot, actually. I think I liked it so much I don't even know if I did a drum cover to it, but I've played it. I've played it a lot. Okay, on drums because it's fun. It's like it's just it's dancey. But this kind of music, at its finest, doesn't sound like music. It doesn't sound like anything. It's kind of like it can become whatever it wants, you know. And when you think about technology and the AI stuff coming out, um, I really think this kind of music is going to be even more important because it's going to be about how crazy you can make a sound turn into something else. Like we already know now, if you search around enough, you can make a sound turn into another sound. Like almost any sound turn into another sound with enough processing. So we already know that, but it's like how artistic are you going to get with that, you know? So in my opinion, techno obviously is a '90s word, but I think it still encompasses a lot of music. It still exists as a genre today. That word, it's kind of like the word heavy metal or something. It still exists, but there's all kinds of subgenres, or yeah, hip hop, right? It's still around. Country music has been around the whole time. So, but this kind of music is where my true love is. Like, like I fell in love with this shit when I was like 17, 18, and I borrowed money to buy a sampler and stuff. So yeah, and I stopped playing in bands. Like I stopped. All I want to do is stuff like this. And I have a whole I have a whole catalog of music that I might put out. I don't know. From like late '90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, whole bunch of shit. But I do think that this music is still going to exist into the future. It's going to dominate still for like another decade, probably plus. So I'll go ahead and put myself on record with that prediction.